Today I'm going to address one of the starting issues of 280Zs with fuel injection. A lot of times fuel pressure is often considered a suspect or lack thereof. You can hook up a fuel pressure gauge, and you can check it. Basically it should be 36 psi. When the engine's not running, it'll drop down to about 30 psi at idle. That's because there's a manifold vacuum in it. The pressure is regulated by the fuel pressure regulator based on that manifold vacuum. Anyway, one of the things I want to talk about is my car is hard to start. Do I have a fuel pressure problem? Well, maybe, but you know, it's not holding pressure, blah blah blah. My car is all over the place as far as holding pressure, and I've often said I don't really think that the whole pressure thing is an issue, because frankly the fuel pump comes up pretty darn quick. It really should come up in just a matter of a second or two, the full pressure. So what I'm going to do, just to test out this theory, we're going to depressurize. Let's see if there's any pressure. Okay, here. I'm going to get all the fuel out of that line. Clearly I have no pressure, and now I actually have air in the system, and it wasn't under pressure either, by the way. By the way, every time you fool around your fuel injection system, guys, be extra careful. Hold on while I tighten this up. Be extra careful about making sure all the clamps are back on tight so you don't have any leaks. There's a lot of connections, a lot of places to leak. I'm going to tighten this back up. Don't worry, I'll check when I'm done. There we go. Okay, so we've been depressurized. Next, is it cold? Well, here in sunny Florida it's never cold, but ambient temperatures are still important. 78 degrees, 77, 76. So now we have essentially zero pressure in the fuel pressure rail. The engine's not warm, if you want to call 76 degrees not warm. Excuse me while I do this on the fly. And let's see how hard it is to crank. Remember, I have no fuel pressure, so let me get in here. So I'm in neutral, and let's see what it takes to start. Okay. So the point I'm trying to make here is, don't rush the judgment that because your fuel pressure is not holding, that's the reason you're having difficulty starting. It starts up real fast without that as an issue. If you're having difficulty starting, especially if you're having, now this is key, intermittent starting. That is, gee, sometimes it starts right up, and gee, sometimes it doesn't want to start. I fought that for a long time. It's one of my prior videos. It had everything to do with the ignition switch itself being the culprit. It had some dead spots in it, so that when you turn the key to the start position, you'd have issues with power getting to the fuel pump or the EFI or whatever it is. It was just an issue. So do that. If you're not maintaining pressure here, don't freak out about that. Don't think you have to solve that issue. I really doubt that's a problem. You can go down that rabbit hole if you want, like I did, but I'm telling you, you may find out it's not fruitful. If you want to pursue it though, like I said, I have multiple videos how I did this, but the simplest thing to do is install your fuel pressure. I usually use this line right here. It's the one that goes to the cold start valve. Put your fuel pressure gauge right there. Disable the cold start valve by unhooking it here. That way, when you turn the key to start, it doesn't squirt fuel in there. Pull the starter solenoid switch off. That's just a little bitty wire on the starter motor. That way the starter won't, and then you crank the start. That'll energize the fuel pump. The cold start injector will not fire. The engine will not turn over, so the injectors will not fire. That should pressurize your system up to the 36 psi. Turn the key off, look at it, watch it. Does it stay there? How long does it stay? And if it goes down, okay, now you start your troubleshooting. The first thing you do is get a couple clamps and clamp off the return line and the fuel feed line after it's fully pressurized, and then see if that changed the speed of the bleed down. If it bleeds down much slower, then you could be assumed that some of the fuel might be going back to the fuel tank through the relief valve, through the check valve in the fuel pump. If it makes no difference clamping that off, if it still bleeds down, okay, then maybe there's something going on in here. So that's my point. If it holds pressure with that clamp, you can maybe assume it's in the check relief valve. If it doesn't hold pressure and it's clamped, then obviously the pressure is going somewhere and may very well be through a leaky injector. Anyway, you can play with that all you want. Just don't forget to take those clamps off before you re-energize that pump, because those pumps can produce a lot of PSI, and you don't want to deadhead it. You know, just cut off the return flow completely. You can burst a fuel line that way, or at least stress things out more than you really need to. I hope this is helpful, and I hope you don't chase the fuel pressure issues too much. I've had this engine where it'll hold overnight. Sometimes it'll hold 10 minutes. Sometimes it holds 2 hours. I have no idea. I was never able to figure out why the pressure would sometimes hold and sometimes not. I think it might be a microscopic, grain of junk in the fuel in the check valve back to the fuel pump, since that's not heavily filtered. A little bit of crap can come out of the fuel filter, get back in there, maybe hold the check valve open. I don't know. But as you can see, even with a drain and a big air slug in that line, the pressure comes right up and it's not an issue when it comes to start. All right, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. Bye.